Hi, my name's TSW, and in this video I'm going to be covering resistance, what it means, and the choices you have for Hydross in particular. So this is a boss that has partial resists, so there are two types of resistance in the game, partial and binary. Partials is where you have the chance to get a full hit with 0 resistance, 25% resisted, 50% resisted, and 75% resisted. We'll go through all of that, as well as two examples of two of my tanks, and the kind of gear that I'm going for, and the pros and cons of different amounts of resistance you might want and why you might want them for Hydross in particular. Okay, so starting off, shout out to Royal Giraffe for his classic research for level 60 content. Oh, that graph looks familiar. So this is for level 60 classic, but luckily it's just percentage based, and you just replace the percentage values as I have here with the level 70 values. So 100% of the cap for resistance is 365 at level 70. So I've just written 365 here and the respective values for the rest. So let's start off with the cap, 365. So let's say you have 365 Frost or Nature for the respective phase for Hydross. We're looking up here at the vertical line with the probabilities here. We have a very high chance above 75% for a green. So that is a 75% resisted hit of the boss. So if you're sitting for 1,000 damage, you're only going to be taking 250, although the base damage of Hydross is 5,000. So you're only going to be taking a 25% hit of that 5,000 hit with no mark. And then obviously for Hydross, each mark increases the raid damage taken by the respective Frost or Nature damage. And then we have a less than 25% chance, less than 20% chance of the orange, which is 50%. So you can see the vast majority of attacks are going to be resisted by 75%. A small chance for a 50% resisted hit, and a very low chance of only having a 25% resisted hit. So getting back-to-back 25% resisted hits or 50% is very low because so many of them are going to be 75. And then what's this blue line? 0% chance. So this is having a full hit with no resistance. This is impossible. Okay, so you're going to be taking very, very little damage with cap of 365. So in reality, the amount of resistance you want is 295, and then you want to be topped up with the remaining 70 to be with the Hunter aspect or the Shaman totem, either Frost or Nature, and the Paladin Frost aura. So don't get 365 yourself. That's suicidal because you won't be able to hit the boss because your threat will be so bad. But that also plays into it more. If you are going for cap or cap with a party buff for 70, also, Mark the Wild doesn't stack with any of the other party buffs, the auras, the totem, the aspect. So ignore aspect, okay? Unless you aren't getting a 70 resist buff, but you definitely should. Okay, so yeah, the benefit of 365 is you're going to be taking very, very, very little damage. But that's also the con. If you're playing Warrior or Druid, you're going to struggle with Rage because you're not taking damage to generate Rage. Also, you're going to be wearing so many more resistance armor pieces that you're going to be lacking in both threat and crit immunity, essentially. So it's tricky. So this is why I'm making this video, because 244 I think really is the sweet spot, at least for progression. Maybe for speedruns, we're definitely going to see less, like maybe 122. But for now, progress. 244. So 244 is the sweet spot because you are still never going to receive a unresisted hit. It's always going to be resisted, okay? The average is 50%, and the most common is 50% with an equal chance of getting a 25% resisted hit as well as a 75% resisted hit. And Hydross doesn't hit that hard, and you generally can, you can get more HP and more threat by having less resistance. So it's twofold. You do take more damage, but you can maybe wear a little bit more tanky gear, although ignore the stamina, really, honestly, isn't that big of a factor. If you want to be more tanky against Hydross, the resistance is the play, not the stamina. Resilience can be good to reduce the crit chance, and threat is the biggest factor here. So you slide down your resistance, you increase your threat. So my very simple diagram here is, where do you want your focus to be? So you can do like a threat focused gear set where you're focusing more on hit and expertise. Maybe you've got a little bit of crit reduction as well, and you don't really care too much about resistance. This is kind of like where I'm gearing towards, because I think you're more likely to die because of threat problems for the transition than you are to die yourself because of lack of resistance. If you are dropping low, you can use the neck for an absorb amount of damage. You can also use Nightmare Seed. You can use your cooldowns yourself. A Druid perhaps might struggle a little bit more because you don't have many cooldowns yourself. But that's, you're going to have probably a little bit more HP as well. So it's somewhat mitigated, but, this is information for you to decide what you want to do yourself. This is the alternative if you go for huge amounts of resistance or resistance cap. Maybe you've got some more crit reduction as well, but you're steering away from the threat, so you're probably not hit cap, and you're probably going to be sacrificing attack power or expertise as well. So these are kind of like the two options. You're going to be in the middle a little bit perhaps, but I'd recommend going more threat focused, because I do think that the greater chance of the wipe is based from threat, not based from the tank dying. Okay, so jumping back here, again, 244 minus the 70 aura is going to be 174. So 174 is the number you want to be aiming for if you want to be getting 244 with the party buff. Okay, so examples of gear. So let's go on to the warrior first, because it's a little bit better geared for this. Tauren Racial. Nature resistance increased by 10. This is really, really good. Another reason to play Horde in Classic, I'm afraid. So if I'm aiming for 174, with this racial, I avoid having an additional armor kit. Now, some people don't know that a leather worker can make armor kits for every school of magic besides Holy, I think. And that increases the resistance by 8. And like a normal armor kit, it can be placed on the head, shoulders, chest, gloves, legs, feet, and increases the resistance by 8. So that would be the trade-off if you don't have a racial giving you extra resistance, if you want to use this set, for example. So the big takeaway items that you really want to have, and I wouldn't replace, would be Grips of Deafness for expertise, as well as Shapeshifter's Signet, again for the expertise. These are fantastic items. Expertise is worth more than hit, especially prior to the soft cap. So this is really, really important. I wouldn't ever replace these items just because their expertise is so valuable. Speaking of additional valuable stats, hit is also very valuable. I am a fair bit over hit cap here. I'm 6.79, so I'm 0.79% over hit cap of 6% with a improved foe fire from a druid on the boss, which might not always be on the boss, because in nature phase he is immune to nature attacks or nature spells, and foe fire is a nature attack spell. So for the first 30 seconds, hopefully there'll be a improved foe fire on the boss, but after that, I'm not going to be hit cap, but I'm not going to worry too much about that. The important thing is that you hit cap for the first 30 seconds. I'd rather be hit cap for the first 30 than the last 30 seconds. Okay, so gear wise, hit rating is important, expertise is important as well. I prioritize the expertise ahead of the hit. I was very fortunate, and a lot of people won't have access to this, but Animal Boss, oh my god, why were you farming Animal Boss? Oh, I hate doing Animal Boss in Kara, it's so boring, we only get bad loot. Well, case in point, look at this belt. 36 nature resist, nice. This saves me wearing like a random green item and an armor kit. For example, I could mitigate this belt by having just random green feet plus an armor kit. But that would also mean that I'd lose whatever a boot enchant I have. Maybe it's minor movement speed. Maybe it's sure-footed because it's my PvP boots right now. It's better to have an Animal Boss resistance piece of armor if you can, if you have it, if you're lucky. And I was. Nice. But basically, the 2-set PvP is really, really good. It doesn't have to be the Season 1 gear. It can be the Honor gear. Or once the Phase 2 Tier 5 lands, you can then buy the Reputation gear. Having 2-set is really good because you not only get the resilience from the pieces themselves, but also the 2-set for the additional 35, which is really, really good. The benefit of having Season 1 is because it has hit as well. So 12 hit on the chest and 12 hit on the legs are very, very nice. So my gear here is almost perfect. I'm a little bit under crit cap, so I do have a 0.425% chance to be crit. So just to put that into a visual, my gear kind of looks like, if I add a layer, so I'm very high on threat, I'm very almost crit cap, and then my resistance is, average. So I'm kind of like this. This is where I'm sat, or maybe a little bit higher towards crit reduction because I'm very close to crit cap. So this is kind of what my gear looks like, and that's very strong because I'm strong in all aspects. And you might be thinking, I'm a little bit short on the resistance. What will that actually look like during the boss fight? Well, I'm glad you asked the question because I've got a little spreadsheet that I made. Link to my Discord in the description. Whenever I theory craft stuff like this, I link it in my Discord if anyone wants to have a look or try and find flaws with the the methodology or whatever. So I'll go over this quickly because I know it'll probably bore people looking at all these numbers. The key takeaways are this assumes 244 resistance and the 4th stack of Mark of Hydross and improved Thunderclap. Just briefly, improved Thunderclap is probably one of the best debuffs on the boss, just so you know, in terms of the tank surviving. Without improved Thunderclap, the boss has an average swing speed from these logs of 1.2 seconds. With improved Thunderclap, the boss had a average swing speed of 1.6 seconds. So straight away, you're adding 0.4 seconds between each swing, meaning that there's more time for healers to heal you, and you're just going to be you're going to be alive way more easily, okay? I did a random dice roll 100 times, 1 to 100, and then depending on the value, it was either a 75% reduction, 50% reduction, or a 25% reduction as per this graph here. So it's the distribution of these chances here. And so first roll is 92, so that's a 25% reduction. Again, it's the 4th stack with a base attack damage of 5,000, increased by 100% because of the 4th mark. That is 5,000 plus 100%, 10,000. 10,000 with the 25% reduction is 7,500. My starting off HP is 14,300, although this is probably going to be higher in reality if I change gems or have better consumables, etc. So my HP after taking the first swing is 6.8k, and then as long as I have 3,090 healing per second, I basically don't die. Even when I take back-to-back high rolls on the damage, again, I just use the even here, I take 3 back-to-back and I survive. I go as low as 3.6k HP. So that's just an example of I can get unlucky and roll bad on the RNG from 3 swings from Hydross in a row, and I survive. So out of the 100 swings here, rolling 1 to 100, I survive being unlucky 3 times in a row. So that's good. And all it requires is improved Thunderclap on the boss, so that gives healers more time to heal me, and 3,090 healing per second on me, which isn't that high in the grand scheme of things. Although this is an average, of course, so there are going to be ebbs and flows and highs and lows. So in reality, you're going to be wanting a bit more here as well. Also, any time that I go above 1,400 here is not accurate, but I don't think I do. Okay, so some more takeaways in useful information is if you don't need a elixir, you can use Spirit of Zanza, the Guardian elixir specifically, rather. This is great for an extra 25 stamina. Because it's stamina, it works with all modifiers, bear form, Tauren racial, talents, Really, really good. I would highly recommend Spirit of Zanza for your Guardian Elixir. The extra HP goes a long way. And yeah, you need Improved Thunderclap to increase your chance of survival. It's really, really good. And just to go with my Druid as well, my Druid's gear isn't quite as well optimized. I am crit immune though. I can link this weak aura in the description as well. Again, I'm going for the Expertise Gloves and Ring. Very, very useful. Reducing my chance to be dodged and parried by 3.5%, as well as Earth Warden. I'm fortunate in that I have a DST on my Druid. Humble brag. But I am going to use a hit trinket because my hit is desperately low. I do use Bloodlust Brooch ahead of Dragon Spine Trophy because I want the on-demand attack power, okay? So as soon as the phase transition happens, I'm tanking Nature. I have an additional 278 attack power, which is fantastic, rather than a somewhat RNG haste buff. My gear is orientated with resilience in mind. I'm wearing resilience wrists, the PvP shoulders, and the PvP helmet. The good thing about wearing the PvP gear is I'm not wearing the PvP gear, or at least the helmet and shoulders, in my main tank set, so I can definitely get away with using a 25 nature res on my helmet. But one thing to bear in mind is you can use your main tank gear to tank Hydross. Particularly if you do Hydross as your first boss in SSC for progress, you can start the fight, or if you're starting with SSC, you can just wear your normal tank gear. Let's say, for example, you're wearing tier 4 helmet, yeah? Just have either start with either start with your 20 nature resistance on your helmet and just kill the little bit of trash before Hydross with the nature enchant on your helmet, and then after you kill Hydross, just have the regular tank enchant or the whatever enchant you're using in your bags ready. So kill Hydross and then put your normal tank enchant on. It's as easy as that, okay? And then maybe next week you just do it with less resistance. It's up to you. But you can be as flexible as you want, really. Just try and think about it. Nature's also really nice, not only because as Tauren you get the racial usage, but you also get the extra enchant on your cloak. You don't get this big enchant for frost resistance. So yeah, the bad thing about my Druid right now is my lack of hit. So I really want to get a hit trinket in my second slot. My hit is very, very low, so I might end up regemming some places for additional hit. For example, I can just dump 2 hit gems in my shoulders. Also, like the 7 resist all on shoulders is kind of nice. I probably will be tanking. I don't have tier 4 shoulders, but I'll probably be tanking the rest of SSC in these shoulders, which do have hit on, or different gems at least. So I can just gem, like I'm wearing this season 1 shoulder only for Hydross, so I can really do whatever I want with it. And yeah, I mean, I hope that this has been useful information for you. And yeah, if you enjoy this video, like, comment, subscribe, favorite it, show the YouTube algorithm that this video is worth watching. I hope that this has been informative, and I'll see you again for more TBC content. Take care, and good luck on Hydross.